Hey y'all, I am coming in with my hello and goodbye podcast. I'm starting this at approximately 11:30 in the evening. So that's kind of neat. Kind of pushing it towards the end. As you can see clearly, my time management didn't improve, but it is what it is. So let's just get right into it. So this year has been kind of a growing process for me. Especially since school has started, I've had to relearn how to do a lot of things after, just, I didn't really go anywhere. I just stayed in my house. Thank God I had my Xbox for social connection. I could still talk to people, but, coming back into school, there are a lot of things I kind of had to relearn. I've kind of had to re-socialize, being around large groups of people. Um, Going back to school at all was kind of a big deal. I excuse me, until like around August 20th, I hadn't been in the building since March 13th. That's the longest I've ever not been in school at any given time. It's crazy. It was a new record. I'll tell you what, snow days may be gone, but I'll never see them the same again. I'll never see staying home the same way again. I got the taste out over this past year. I don't really enjoy it as much as I used to. Let's see what else has changed over the past year. I see people a lot more. I can see my friends. I see my girlfriend. I've come to do that a lot more. Other than just seeing like my mom and my dad, and then like occasionally going fishing, which is pretty much all I did last year. Um, but I'd have to say the biggest like change personally for me, not academically, I'll get into that in a second, but like just for me as a person, is I've just learned that you just can't change some things. It is what it is, what it is. This past year has been such a large, year of social unrest and not even getting into the politics and all of that. But I've just had to kind of sit back and look and say I'm not going to pain myself over something I can't change, and I can really only focus on improving myself and trying to make myself happy and the people around me happy, which has kind of been a big deal because I will be the first to admit I've always been not anal retentive, but just not incredibly flexible on my plans. I kind of freaked out and still kind of freak out when things don't go exactly as I plan them. But this past year has been a great growing time period for me to just kind of do some self reflection and realize that, hey, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't matter. I had to reevaluate my priorities. Um, Academically, how I've changed this past year, uh, well, I've kind of fallen out of practice for a lot of things. I can definitely say that. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I have to go back to school 5 days a week and everything is an open note and things like that. Thank God I finished my math classes, but I wouldn't say my work ethic shrunk as much as it kind of shifted gears. This is something I think a lot of people in my generation have kind of expressed is like, I still will do my work, I will still complete my assignments, but if it's what is it right now, 11:34 at night, and it's due in 26 minutes, and I still get it done before the deadline, whatever. Or if it's a particularly tough assignment and people spend more time looking for the answers to the assignment than putting effort into understanding the concepts and trying to do the assignment, that's kind of what I mean when I say my work ethic has changed gears. And I don't know, I feel like this past year has definitely been more of a test on my skills rather than my memorization, which I think is a good thing because teachers have kind of had to, and I'm sure you've had to do this yourself, teachers have had to redesign their testing around the fact that, you're doing this on a computer. People can look it up and you can say, hey, don't look it up, but people are still going to look it up. And, I've seen a variety of ways of doing this, from just having it be open response, or like I even remember in chemistry, for example, Mr. English, he would just make up his own elements and he would test us on the skills. And I think that's a beneficial change to test kids on, is, again, he's testing them on, people are being tested on their skills rather than, uh, rote memorization. So overall, I just think that this year it's just been a growing time for me. Like, looking at where I was, like, my birthday, January 31st, 2020, compared to January 31st, 2021, I have just, learned to accept myself and not feel as much pressure on myself to really impress other people. That's one thing I would tell myself, if I could go back and talk to myself from the pre-COVID era, is I felt like I'm put way too much pressure on myself to be like a court jester and to always be funny and entertaining and come off, as interesting. And I was so, oh my goodness, I was so self-conscious about my hair, or how I dressed, or if I didn't have the newest pair of shoes out. But now, like, I just, frankly, I don't care. Life is, I've just come to the conclusion that life is too short for me to care and, pamper and primp away at a million little things that nobody is going to notice because they're all too busy uh, pimping and, prampering. I think I got those words mixed up. Too busy looking at themselves and thinking, oh my God, I hope this one person doesn't notice that I have like microscopic hair out of place. Everybody's too worried about themselves. Everybody's very self-absorbed. So moving on from that, let's kind of just focus in on your class in general. Um, it was definitely an English class. Like, I really appreciated my ACT English score going up. I think that was great. That we focused on, that. That was absolutely amazing. Um, I think, like, some of the projects we've done in this class, the more like contemporary projects, like, like what I'm doing right now, like a podcast, or the book cover, or like, what else did we do? Like the playlist I did for Invisible Man, or the I believe it was like Yelp review, or like a Airbnb review for Metamorphosis. All of those kind of like out of the box project styles. I appreciated doing those. And I'm sure I griped and complained in the moment because I'm kind of a whiner, but like, I think kind of pushing people out of their comfort zones in that regard and doing things like the essay really trains you for a college environment where to my understanding, every professor kind of like they're their own person. They'll have their own. They'll want you to do, um, X, Y, and Z, and it's not really up to you to say, well, not on the curriculum, Mister So and So. They say jump, and you say how high. So I think this was kind of a good training process for that. Book wise, I mean, the books were okay. They were fine. They were definitely books. I enjoyed the books I picked for my IR podcast. Those were good. Um, but yeah, I just overall, this past year has been a growing. It's been a time of growth for me. I hope it continues to be a time of growth. I mean, overall, like, I mean, oh, no offense to you or really anybody at the school, but junior year was like a solid like 6.5 out of 10 for me. It happened. I was there. I guess I remember it. But like other than like uh starting to date Bella and some other stuff, like it was just okay. School does not have the teeth in it that it had before. And I think you kind of noticed that in the way that I come into your class every Monday and Wednesday with like just absolute dead eyes and like half asleep, but I hope that the future is brighter. The future looks good. I can lick doorknobs again. I'm going out more. Um, this summer is going to be great, and I just hope senior year is better, because I would be so embarrassing for me if I had to tell my kids that my favorite year of high school was my freshman year. So yeah, that was kind of just my hello and goodbye podcast. Maybe a little rambly, but it is 11:40 at night now, so you kind of get what you pay for, I guess. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.